What's going on, America? It is your boy Charlie the Box, the patriotic miscreant. But I'm gonna have my box today is gonna be racism in America. I'm gonna give you my first-hand experience about racism. When I was younger, people always thought of me as a fuck up. There was always a concern of what I was doing, and I built up a lot of resentment to authority, cops, and white people, because what the fuck did I do that you guys always think I'm a person of interest when I go into a store, or I'm just in school learning like the kid next to me? And I built a lot of rage and anger in me, and I had the attitudes, I just don't give a fuck. So fuck you, fuck them, and fuck everybody. But that's the person who the world created as an individual, because that's the world that I live in an inner city, someone from poverty, someone that was on the receiving end from Toys for Tots, Coats for Kids, and welfare cheese, and AFDC and WIC. I was on the receiving end of all that stuff. I came from nothing, and I'm still freaking here. And as I got older and I started to mature, what I realized was it really didn't matter what I was wearing, how my hair was, and if I had tattoos or not. People always perceived me to be this miscreant, and that's why I ended up taking the persona of the patriotic miscreant, just use it to my advantage. And when I started to mature, I realized it wasn't race that they had a problem with me, it was their perception of me, because they automatically have preconceived notions that I was this person that was up to no good. But eventually I became the person who they thought I was, not the person God intended me to be. So when I started to become the person God intended me to be, I realized it was not race that they had an issue with. It wasn't because I was Hispanic, it's just they thought I was a certain way. Well, if you're not the person who they think that you are, you need to change their perception of you. I could talk about a tattooed white trailer trash hick with tattoos on his face and tattoos on his neck with Nazi symbols on his arms. You could get a Hispanic from the ghetto that's a gangbanger driving a lowrider. You could get a black man that's on the corner selling dope and selling drugs. And you could dress them however you want. And when they all go into Target or they go into a building, security always pinpoints on them. Why? It's because of the way that they look. It's not their race, it's because, well shit, you got these gang-related tattoos. You're carrying yourself a certain way. And because of your characteristics, we perceive you as a threat. So, if you get another white man that's very attractive, like Brad Pitt, are you gonna have the same kind of interest and the same thought when you see this attractive man rather than this white boy that came out of prison? If you got a man like George Lopez, that's a funny, educated, articulate man, are you gonna perceive him the same way you see a guy driving down the street wearing red or blue, driving a lowrider? Is that black man that's selling dope with dreadlocks, is the same way you're gonna look like a businessman that's well-educated driving a Maserati like, let's say, P. Diddy? They're not gonna perceive you the same way. It's not because of the guy's race that was the problem, it's the way that you perceive them. When they're more attractive and they're more presentable, they're less of a threat to you. So your warning signs don't necessarily go off. So it's not the race of all these people that we have a problem with, it's our one sense of perception of who we think that they are. The only way we could ever change that is the way that someone perceives you is to show them who you are. If you give them a plate of bullshit and all you ever come to them to think these negative thoughts, because that's who you are, had nothing to do with your race. It had to do with what you gave them. So today, America, we don't have a racial problem, we got a perception problem. And as long as we allow them to racially divide us, it's an easier way to conquer us. See, today we as Americans have to have adult conversation, but it's hard for us to do that. We can't deal with our emotions or feelings anymore because we might get our feelings hurt. Well, if that's the way that it's gonna be, you deserve exactly what's coming your way. So if you're not gonna turn to God and start making things right, you're gonna be a useful tool to the devil and make things bad. So if you're not gonna do everything in power to restore your life, liberty, and this country, you're gonna do everything in power to destroy all three. Charlie in the Box, the patriotic miscreant, and I'm out.
Hello there. Watch Charlie in the Box before he's sent to a re-educational camp.
Try out.